Good morning and welcome to News on the Hour. I'm Shreya Upadhyay. In a short while from now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be inaugurating the Infinity Forum, which is a thought leadership forum on fintech or financial technology. But before we go to that, let's quickly take a look at the headlines that we are tracking at this hour. All right, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the Infinity Forum, a thought leadership forum on fintech via video conferencing. Indonesia, South Africa and UK are the partner countries in the first edition of the two-day forum. Infinity Forum will bring together the leading minds of the world in policy, business and technology to discuss and come up with the actionable insight into how technology and innovation can be leveraged by the fintech industry for inclusive growth and serving humanity at large. The agenda of the forum will focus on the theme of Beyond, with various sub-themes including fintech beyond boundaries, with governments and businesses focusing beyond the geographical boundaries in the development of global stack to promote financial inclusiveness. Fintech beyond finance by having convergence with emerging areas such as space tech, green tech and agri-tech to drive sustainable development. And fintech beyond next, with focus on how quantum computing could impact the nature of fintech industry in the future and promote new opportunities. The forum will witness participation from over 70 countries. All right, my colleague Abhishek joins us for more on this. Abhishek, good morning. A very important forum which is being inaugurated by the Prime Minister. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, we all know, has always placed emphasis on combining technology with services that his government provides. And now he's focusing on financial services being combined with technologies to reach the poorest of the poor in the country.
Of course, Shreya, we know that when the government led by Prime Minister Modi came into power, the few first initiatives that were taken were actually based upon financial inclusion. We know how financial inclusion and also financial empowerment of poor and people living in remote areas. And technology and digital platform was one of the major facilitators in that mission. Over the years, we have seen how digital payment across India has grown, and it has helped people to not only transact value, but also they have been able to have a better exposure to the global community as well, where a farmer from the remotest part of the country can sell his produce, or at least can imagine selling his produce to the people living in metros or maybe far beyond the borders of the country. So the theme also of this year's event is Beyond, which means that maybe after the globalization, where the geographical boundaries of the various countries around the globe have been blurred, with this digital technology, it has almost collapsed, because people living in India can do transaction and businesses about this finances and various technological innovation to the people or to the clientele living in USA or Latin America, and the vice versa. So how these technological advancement and new innovation can facilitate our lives in a more efficient and productive way, that is going to be the major focus area around which the various stakeholders, as you said, almost 70 countries, the people from almost 70 countries are participating in this event, will be discussing the areas of innovation, areas of new advancement, and also how to make this technologically, new technology not only affordable but accessible to all. Because as Prime Minister has said that the cause is about to serve the larger humanity. And if we have to serve across the globe, we have to also understand the context or the various geographies play, in terms of monetary, and the cost effectiveness of the technology has to be there. So all these issues will be key areas of discussion when the Prime Minister will also be discussing and putting his idea forth in front of the various stakeholders in this meeting.
Right, Abhishek, I think this forum also becomes important because we are seeing it at a time when the world is grappling with a pandemic. This is a post-pandemic world, and as much as technology has taken precedence over anything else, we've also seen people across the world suffer financially. So it makes all the more important to combine technology with financial services so that, as you said, it becomes accessible and affordable for all. And, we are seeing different countries participating in it. Of course, the kind of impact that COVID has had on every country has been different. So in that context, it really becomes important, doesn't it?
Of course, Shreya, we have seen that COVID has given us the life lesson as to how much technology can be a facilitator in our lives. Because the apprehension there was earlier also before COVID period that the technology may not be as necessary or as mandatory for our lives, but during the past 2 years at least we have seen the dependence of us in technology, data, internet has actually been a boon. Also, there has been apprehension always, especially in government sector, to use new technology and to use new innovation, and private sectors tend to adopt those new challenges or new technologies earlier. So with this COVID period, we have seen that government has also taken a lot of initiative to adopt new technologies. In our government sector, we have seen so many basic services or public services being delivered online through certification. Various of logistical movement have also been allowed with online certification of goods and services. So use of technology has been actually leapfrog in these 2 years, in the last 2 years, and people across the world, leaders across the world have realized the importance of it, and necessary that it is going to be the necessary part of our lives. Then how to make it more viable, more efficient, more productive, more affordable, and accessible to all. Also, the areas where we actually need more technological supervision, monitoring, and support, they are also important to be discussed. Like the countries like India, where a lot of people are still struggling in the agriculture sector because of the poor technologies or traditional way of doing farming. They can also have a lot more technological innovations applied to their, customized application applies to the various geographies, because the technologies, they can always know better how the weather is going to be, what kind of soil or what kind of fertilizers they are going to be needed, what will be the need of water that the crops they are going to plant, and how soon or how later they can harvest their crops. And also they will be knowing the global demand or the maybe local demand that is going to happen, total world, the production that is going to happen world across, and accordingly they can price their food and procure or purchase or sell their produce. Not only agriculture, we have seen many innovation happening in the education sector also, because so many schools and colleges were shut because of the lockdown, but people soon realized that education cannot stop, and so this technological and digital platform had to be used in order to serve education and spread multiple various sectors of it were used based on this digital platform. So various areas where potential is there and they are still untapped, they are also going to be discussed around this event.
Abhishek, what's interesting is that India, Indonesia, South Africa and UK, these are the 4 countries which are participating in this forum, and every country is at a very different level of development when it comes to living in a world of Industry 4.0, where we're seeing artificial intelligence, big data, data analytics, robotics, crowdfunding. We're seeing all of these technologies come up, and all of these 4 countries are at very different levels of the development of technologies within their own lands, within their populations. So, in that context, how do we see India leading the forefront when it comes to reaching out to its population in every corner of the country using technology?
So Shreya, if we look at the 4 participant member on this event, UK happens to be the only developed country in terms of the global definition of developed country. India, Indonesia and South Africa remains not as advanced as UK is, but we are seeing in terms of technological advancement, in terms of innovation, it's not bound by the level of advancement that a country has. Of course, that can provide a lot more, research facility or educational excellence. But that innovation requires mind, and we have seen in the past also that India has been one of the key stakeholders in this area, where not many Indian technological experts or data scientists have been able to innovate, not only for Indian companies but for their global peers. So innovation can happen in Indonesia, South Africa or India also, which can be applied globally for major technological companies. In fact, we are seeing how Indian youth or Indian data scientists or Indian technological engineers are leading currently the major global technological companies because of the innovation, because of the kind of application that they try to devise around the around the project that they were assigned to. So it makes a lot of sense that India is in a position where it can supply a lot of talent globally. It can try to innovate technological aspect of various service sectors based on the requirements of different geographies around the globe. If we have any problems in Indonesia and we can share the same problem with a particular company in India, people here can devise a way forward how the solution can be arrived. And it can happen in Indonesia also, where the people can create a solution-based approach for the problem that is happening in South Africa or any part of the globe. We have seen that happening in terms of vaccine, how the global community came together during this corona period, and so many discoveries happened because of the collaborative effort of people and the scientists and the countries and the government around the globe. So this whole concept of today's event is going to be around the collaboration that people.
All right, let's go across to the inauguration of the Infinity Forum by Prime Minister Narendra Modi now.
Excellencies, distinguished colleagues, my fellow citizens from the tech and finance world, tens of thousands of participants from all over 70 countries. Namaskar. Friends, I am delighted to inaugurate the first Infinity Forum and welcome you all. Infinity Forum represents the immense possibilities that fintech has in India. It also shows the huge potential of India's fintech to provide benefit to the entire world. Friends, the history of currency shows tremendous evolution. As human evolved, so did the form of our transactions. From barter system to metals, from coins to notes, from checks to cards, today we have reached here. Earlier, development used to take decades to spread across the world. But not anymore in this era of globalization. Technology is bringing a big shift in the world of finance. Last year in India, mobile payments exceeded ATM cash withdrawals, and that was for the first time. Fully digital banks without any physical branch offices are already a reality and may become commonplace in less than a decade. Friends, India has proved to the world that it is second to none when it comes to adopting technology or innovating around it. Transformational initiatives under Digital India have opened doors for fintech innovations to be applied in governance. Technology has also catalyzed financial inclusion. From less than 50% Indians having bank accounts in 2014, we have almost universalized with 430 million Jan Dhan accounts in the last 7 years. So far, 690 million RuPay cards have been issued. RuPay cards clocked 1.3 billion transactions last year. UPI processed around 4.2 billion transactions in just last month. Almost 300 million invoices are uploaded on the GST portal every month. More than 12 billion US dollars worth payment is done through the GST portal alone every month. Despite the pandemic, about 1.5 million railway tickets get booked online every day. Last year, FASTag processed 1.3 billion seamless transactions. PM Swanidhi is enabling access to credit For small vendors across the country, e-rupee has enabled targeted delivery for specific services without leakages. I can go on and on, but these are just a few examples of the scale and scope of fintech in India. Friends, financial inclusion is the driver of fintech revolution. Fintech is resting on 4 pillars: income, investments, insurance, and institutional credit. When income grows, investment becomes possible. Insurance coverage enables greater risk-taking ability and investments. Institutional credit gives wings for expansion. And we have worked on each of these pillars. When all those factors come together, you suddenly find so many more people participating in the financial sector. The large base becomes the perfect springboard for fintech innovations. Fintech industry in India is innovating to enhance access to finance and the formal credit system to every person in the country. Now, it is time to convert these fintech initiatives into fintech revolution. A revolution that helps to achieve financial empowerment of every single citizen of the country. Friends, as we see the widening reach of fintech, there are considerations that need attention. Fintech industry has achieved huge scale, and scale means people from all walks of life as customers. This fintech acceptability among the masses has a unique feature. That feature is trust. The common Indian has shown immense trust in our fintech ecosystem by embracing digital payments and such technologies. This trust is a responsibility. Trust means that you need to ensure that the interests of people are secured. Fintech innovation will be incomplete without fintech security innovation. Friends, we believe in sharing our experiences and expertise with the world and learning from them as well. Our digital public infrastructure solutions can improve the lives of people around the world. Tools like UPI and RuPay provide an unparalleled opportunity for every country, an opportunity to provide a low-cost, reliable, real-time payment system as well as domestic card scheme and fund remittance system. Friends, Gift City is not merely a premises. It represents promise of India. It represents India's democratic values, demand, demography, and diversity. It represents India's openness to ideas, innovation, and investment. Gift City is a gateway to the global fintech world. IFSC at Gift City was born out of the vision that finance combined with technology would be an important part of India's future development. Our aim is to provide the best international financial services, not just for India, but for the world. India's finance is the lifeblood of an economy, and technology is its carrier. Both are equally important for achieving Antyodaya and Sarvodaya. Our flagship Infinity Forum is part of our endeavor to bring together all key stakeholders of the global fintech industry to explore the limitless future of the industry. I remember the conversation I had with Mr. Mike Bloomberg on this subject when we last met. And I thank the Bloomberg Group for their support. Infinity Forum is a forum of belief in the spirit of innovation and the power of imagination, belief in the energy of youth and their passion for change, belief in making the world a better place. Let us together explore and advance innovative ideas in fintech to solve the most pressing issues emerging globally. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Chairman of Gift City Project. Gujarat International Finance Tech City, known as Gift City, is the outcome of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi's vision to make India a global provider of finance and technological services. With its smart infrastructure, business-friendly environment, and India's only and independently regulated International Financial Services Center, Gift City is emerging as an attractive destination for global financial players. Fintech has proved to be a powerful instrument for the growth and development of nations and its peoples. Direct payment of subsidies to beneficiaries through their bank accounts, eliminating middlemen. Free healthcare for the poor using Ayushman Smart Card. Continuation of online classes for students even in the most remote villages during the pandemic. And many such initiatives of the Prime Minister. He made reference to RuPay, to UPI, has taken fruits of development to the doorstep of the common man. Is truly a digital revolution. On behalf of all the organizers and participants of this global interactive forum, I sincerely thank Honorable Prime Minister of India for his inaugural address, which will set the agenda for subsequent discussions. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, they're inaugurating the Infinity Forum, a thought leadership forum on financial technology. Quick takeaways from his address. Well, he said that there are immense possibilities of fintech and in India, and of course that there is a huge potential of India's fintech to provide global solutions to the challenges that the world faces. He also said that in India, mobile payments have accelerated. Fully digital banks without any physical branches are today a reality, and they will be globally, spread across the world. He also said that Digital India has opened doors to fintech and, of course, financial inclusion. He also emphasized on the fact that less than 50% of Indians had bank accounts in 2014, but today, as of now, 14 million Jan Dhan accounts have been opened by the government. Remember, Prime Minister Modi and his government had in fact started this initiative of Jan Dhan accounts for the poorest of the poor in the country to own bank accounts and have at least a minimum account in their minimum amount in their bank accounts. Apart from this, he also said that this is the time to convert fintech to fintech revolution across the country that helps in the empowerment of every single citizen of this nation. He also said that, digital payments have gone up in the country, which really reflects the fact that citizens have placed their trust, have placed their faith in the fintech system that the government has provided for them. And it is now the responsibility of everyone related to financial technology that the citizens' interests are secured in every way. He also said that digital public infrastructure solutions that India has started, like UPI or RuPay, also provide an opportunity for low-cost payment systems in the country. So he really urged the world and the country to come forward, provide financial technological solutions to the challenges that the world is facing, and of course lead to the empowerment of every single person financially across the world. Well, that's all about the Prime Minister's address at the inauguration of the Infinity Forum. We are heading for a short break right now, but news and updates continue on the other side. Stay tuned.
As the day unfolds and news and events take shape, we get you complete coverage of every news breaking in, tracking new developments as they happen. Midday Prime English, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. on DD India.
Welcome back to News on the Hour. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has crossed 125.75 crore, with the administration of over 73,67,000 vaccine doses in the last 24 hours cumulatively. 125 crore 75,05,514 beneficiaries have been vaccinated across the country so far. The vaccination exercise, as a tool to protect the most vulnerable population groups in the country from COVID-19, continues to be regularly reviewed and monitored at the highest level. An update now on the COVID-19 situation from across the country. Well, the recovery of 8,612 patients in the last 24 hours has increased the cumulative tally of recovered patients to 3 crore 40 lakh 45,666. Consequently, India's recovery rate now stands at 98.35%. Sustained and collaborative efforts by the centre and the states and UTs continue the trend of less than 50,000 daily new cases that are being reported for 159 consecutive days now. 9,216 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours. India's active caseload presently stands at 99,976. Active cases account for less than 1% of the total cases. Active cases currently stand at 0.29% of the country's total positive cases, which is the lowest since March 2020. The testing capacity across the country continues to be expanded. India has so far conducted over 64.46 crore cumulative tests. While testing capacity has been enhanced across the country, weekly positivity rate at 0.84% remains less than 1% for the last 19 days now. The daily positivity rate is reported to be 0.8%. The daily positivity rate has remained below 2% for the last 60 days. In other news, today is the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. On the occasion, President Ramnath Kovind will be the chief guest at a ceremony to celebrate the day at Vigyan Bhavan in New Delhi. President Kovind will confer the annual national awards on individuals, institutions, organizations and states and districts for their outstanding achievements and work towards the empowerment of persons with disabilities. The function is being organized by the Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities, Union Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Union Minister for Social Justice and Empowerment, Dr. Virendra Kumar, will preside over the function, while Union Ministers of State for Social Justice and Empowerment, Ramdas Athavale, A. Narayanaswamy and Pratima Bhaumik will also grace the occasion. The National Disaster Response Force has deployed 62 teams across Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu and Andaman and Nicobar Islands in view of the impending Cyclone Javad. In view of the cyclone alert issued by the Met Department, 4 NDRF teams have been rushed to Vijayawada in Andhra Pradesh for pre-deployment. DG NDRF Atul Karwal has said that NDRF is in touch with the state governments and is providing the teams that they have asked for. He added that there are teams in reserve if needed. The depression has intensified into a deep depression today over the west central and adjoining South Bay of Bengal. The cyclone will intensify into a cyclonic storm by today evening and is likely to reach west central Bay of Bengal off the North Andhra Pradesh, South Odisha coasts by tomorrow morning. In view of the impending cyclonic storm, north coastal Andhra Pradesh districts have been put on high alert. The Met Department has predicted that there would be heavy to very heavy rains today and tomorrow. NDRF and SDRF teams have been deployed in Kalingapatnam, Tekkali and Srikakulam Tehsildar office will handle any situation. 68 rehabilitation centers are open in Srikakulam district as of now, where essentials are stocked up. Farmers who have harvested paddy crop had been moved to safer places. Irrigation and Revenue Department officials are monitoring Nagavali, Varmashadra and Bahuda rivers. Highways and roads have also been given top priority by officials. A review meeting would be conducted today. Now, Odisha is fully geared up to face Cyclone Javad, which is likely to affect 13 to 14 districts in the coastal belt and southern part of the state. Districts like Ganjam and Gajapati are expected to witness heavy to very heavy rainfall between today and tomorrow. Wind speed could range from 60 to 100 km per hour. 12 teams of NDRF, 60 teams of ODRAF and 172 firefighting units are being deployed in the districts likely to be affected. Around 100 cyclone shelters are ready and collectors have been asked to shift people to safety from vulnerable areas. Every department, water resources and PWD officials are ready to deal with any emergency. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviewed preparedness to deal with Cyclone Javad, including timely evacuation of those in affected areas and ensuring maintenance of essential supplies. International news now. Germany's military honored outgoing Chancellor Angela Merkel with their highest ceremony for a civilian, playing an eclectic mix of music of her own choosing that has intrigued the nation. Less than a week before Merkel will officially hand over power to her successor, Olaf Scholz, she received her country's highest military honors, featuring a traditional parade of torch-bearing soldiers and a marching band. Merkel was the country's first East German chancellor and the first chancellor of post-war Germany to be seen off in Berlin. The ceremony, broadcast live on television and hosted by the defense minister, lasted about an hour, rich in military choreography and ritual. Known as the Grosser Zapfenstreich or Grand Tattoo, it dates to the 16th century and is the highest honor that the military can bestow on civilians. It has been performed as the official farewell to departing chancellors since German reunification. Merkel is the only third German chancellor to be honored with such a military grand tattoo ceremony. It is now up to the next government to find answers to the challenges that lie ahead of us and to shape our future. For that, dear Olaf Scholz, I wish you and the German government led by you all the very best, good fortune and best of success. I am convinced that we can continue to shape the future well if we don't succumb to discontent, envy and pessimism, but like I said elsewhere 3 years ago, get to work with joy in our heart. At least that's what I always did in my life in East Germany, and all the more so once in freedom. It's this joy in the heart which I wish on all of us, and in a figurative way for our country also in the future. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Von Herzen.
The International Atomic Energy Agency Director General Rafael Grossi met and held talks with the Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister and head of the Iranian team in Vienna talks, Ali Bagheri Kani, on Thursday. Earlier on Thursday, the coordinator of the Joint Commission of IAEA Board, Enrique Mora, and representatives of the 3 European countries in Vienna met and held talks with Bagheri Kani. Thursday was the 4th day of negotiations in Vienna. During the past few days, Iranian negotiators held several bilateral and multilateral meetings with the P4+1, namely France, Britain, Germany, Russia and China. Iran had provided 2 proposed texts to the other side, one of which contains Iran's views on the removal of sanctions and the other one is on the issue of Iran's nuclear actions. IAEA Chief Grossi said that a preliminary agreement remains possible, but there is little time left. He said Tehran must guarantee more transparency to IAEA in Iran's own interest. Concerning his intention to visit Iran, Grossi said that if he is invited, he will go to Iran in a minute. A deal with Iran is possible, the Director General of IAEA has said. Moving on, activist groups called on the UN General Assembly to create a new panel of independent experts to collect and preserve evidence of possible war crimes by all sides in Yemen's bitter conflict for future prosecution. Bahrain, Russia and other members of the UN Human Rights Council pushed through a vote in October to shut down its war crimes investigations in Yemen in a stinging defeat for Western states. Some 60 groups, including Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International, called in a joint statement for a fresh investigation and accused Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates of an aggressive lobbying campaign to quash the Geneva-based expert panel set up 4 years ago. More than 1 lakh people have been killed and 4 million have been displaced in the war marked by Saudi-led coalition airstrikes as well as shelling and missiles by Iran-aligned Houthi fighters. In other news, the erupting Cumbre Vieja volcano in La Palma resumed its strombolian activity late on Thursday afternoon after a short break earlier this week. The volcano showed periods of intense activity, ejecting lava and ash from its crater after lava temporarily stopped spewing from the main emission center of the volcano on Tuesday. The volcano stopped emitting lava from its main emission crater for 30 hours, but the volcanic activity resumed later on Wednesday. Lava flows emanating from the erupting volcano have destroyed 2,790 properties across the island and scorched 1,163.7 hectares of land since it started erupting on September 19th. Let's shift focus to sports now. India and New Zealand will lock horns in the second test of the two-match series starting December 3rd, that's today, at Mumbai's Wankhede Stadium, and Virat Kohli will make a comeback to lead the Indian team after the first match ended on day 5 as a draw, although the Kiwis were on the ropes hanging on for dear life. More in this report.
India and New Zealand will lock horns in the second test of the two-match series starting the 3rd of December at Mumbai's Wankhede Stadium. The first test match ended in a draw in Kanpur despite gaining the edge over New Zealand on day 5 and as the Kiwis held their nerves to avoid a defeat. Now the two teams are all set to battle it out in the series decider. Despite the return of Virat Kohli, India will still try to fit in both Cheteshwar Pujara and Ajinkya Rahane in the playing 11 as New Zealand are all set to bring in Neil Wagner. It will be interesting to see who makes way for the Indian captain as speculations are being made on Ajinkya Rahane, Cheteshwar Pujara and Mayank Agarwal. On the other hand, Ridhiman Saha can also be benched due to stiffness in his neck.
I think it's both with Ajinkya and obviously Pujara. We know that there are a lot of experience behind them. They've played enough cricket, and we also know as a team that they're one inning away from coming into form. So as a team, everyone is behind them, backing them. We know that the value they bring to the team, the experience that they have, will come good. So it's just one inning away from getting back into form.
The match will be differently poised this time considering the pitch that offers ample pace and bounce. The wicket on this venue favors the batters as they can play on the up and the surface will assist the spinners. New Zealand, the World Test champions after beating India in the title clash in June, denied the hosts a win in an enthralling 5 days of play in the opening match. The final pairing of Rachin, Ravindra and Ajaz Patel survived in dimming light as gutsy New Zealand held on for a memorable draw. In a good news for Team India, however, that will enjoy the home ground benefit this time, the Maharashtra government has allowed 25% crowd capacity for the second test between India and New Zealand at the Wankhede Stadium as only 1,200 tickets went up for online sales on Tuesday. The capacity of the stadium is 33,000 but only 8,260 tickets have been printed due to government restrictions on crowds in stadiums. As the second match will be a decider one for both the teams, performance pressure will be mounting on India and the Kiwis who almost neared a first test defeat in Kanpur. Sports Desk, DD India.
Well, after cricket, let's shift focus to hockey. In the 2021 Men's FIH Hockey Junior World Cup semi-final match, holders and two-time champions India take on the most successful side in the history of the tournament, Germany, at Bhubaneswar in Odisha today. India, who defeated Belgium by a solitary goal in a repeat of the last edition's final for a place in the last four, will face probably the biggest challenge of the tournament when they take on Germany. The German Colts will be extra motivated to beat their Indian rivals. India had defeated Germany in the bronze medal playoff at the Tokyo Olympics. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo scored his 800th career goal before driving home a penalty winner as Manchester United came from behind to beat Arsenal in a memorable contest featuring two crucial VAR decisions. Emily Smith-Rowe drove home from the edge of the area, while United keeper David De Gea was lying on the ground, seemingly injured with his back to play. Bruno Fernandes levelled when he finished off an intricate move involving Jadon Sancho and Fred a minute before the break, setting up the pulsating second half that followed. Well, Ronaldo put United ahead as he swept home Marcus Rashford's cross, but Martin Odegaard made it 2-2 with a well-taken equaliser. Now, Antonio Conte's unbeaten league start as Tottenham boss continued as they kept pace with the top four with a comfortable win over a lackluster Brentford. A 12th-minute own goal from right-wing back Sergi Canos gave them the lead before Son Heung-min finished off a scintillating counter-attack in the second half. And at this point, we're heading for a break, but news and updates continue on the other side. Stay tuned.
पेमेंट भी कर सकते हैं। आपको किसी से पैसा मंगाना हो या किसी को भेजना हो तो वो भी